Good morning, board, staff, and members of the public. After my statement, the chairman will open this meeting and explain the rules for this electronic meeting. Please keep your microphone on mute while you are not speaking. The technical support team may proactively mute participants if the microphone is picking up background noise. Board members should check to make sure the microphone is not muted before speaking. You may text me at 540-336-3948 at any time during the meeting if you need technical support, and an IT tech will call your phone to assist. I now turn the meeting over to Committee Chairman Sultan. Thank you.
In accordance with the governor's state of emergency declaration and executive orders regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors Continuity Ordinance and General Assembly 2020 Budget Amendments 28 and 137, Loudoun Water will meet today in an electronic meeting. In compliance with these special procedures, only action items necessary to continue operation of Loudoun Water and the discharge of its lawful purposes, duties, and responsibilities will be discussed during today's meeting. Reports and other meeting information are available on board docs. Public notice and meeting access information was provided on the Loudoun Water website. A recording of the meeting will be available at this link, and www.loudonwater.org/virtual-meeting-recordings. Board members wishing to speak are reminded to press unmute and identify themselves by name so that staff can accurately capture comments. All items will be recommended to the June 10th, 2021 board meeting. The board secretary will now take a roll call attendance of the committee members.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sultan?
Here.
Mr. Bonfils?
Here.
Mr. Moody? Mr. Moody? Ms. Sursakar? Ms. Sursakar? We have 2 members present, sir.
Okay, do I get do we have a quorum? Is that enough members?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's enough to conduct the meeting.
Can I get a motion to approve the meeting agenda?
So moved.
Marty, you have to second.
Second.
Thank you. Any roll call again, Mr. Bonfils?
Yes.
Mr. Moody? Ms. Sursakar? And Mr. Sultan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can we go to the first item, approval of design task order for Russell Branch sewer pump station?
All right, good morning. I'm Kathleen Witten. I'm here to present the Russell Branch Sewer Pump Station design task order. All right. So the reason why I'm here, I know you've heard about Russell Branch a lot, is because we need to redesign the sewer pump station based on the county changes to the comprehensive plan, namely the JLMA now of Leesburg. Loudoun Water is the preferred service provider. But also there were some changes to the planned use areas in and around the Russell Branch sewer shed. So those 2 things basically mean that the Russell Branch needs to be almost 5 times larger than we had previously designed it for. So we pretty much have to have a complete redesign. Is there a question?
Yeah, Kathleen, just to move things along, I think Marty and I and Mr. Bonfils have had, just kind of hit the high points, if you don't mind. I'm
Sure.
only saying this because I've got a meeting at 9 o'clock and I just want to make sure I get through most of this stuff. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Yes,
and we
I
read
agree.
through your material. Thank you very much.
Easy enough. All right. Then I'll try to move through this quickly. So Russell Branch is basically at the corner of 7 and Goose Creek near Belmont Ridge Road. It's replacing the existing Belmont Ridge pump station. The need for the project, basically we're replacing the Belmont Ridge station because it was only built to serve the Toll Brothers subdivision, not to serve the entire shed. And it's one of the old, Belmont Ridge is one of the oldest pump stations in our in our central service area, and it needs some major rehab. So the timeline, I started this project in 2017. We started with HDR. They designed basically the whole thing 100%. Then when we were working on easement negotiation with the property owner and the county, the comprehensive plan amendment came out. So once we got resolution with the county on how we would handle the easements, we decided to put the project on hold while we developed our JLMA master plan last summer. So once that was done, we started reprojections for Russell Branch and kind of thought through how we would want to design the new pump station to be phased to handle all the flows. So here we are in 2021, 4 years later. So just to highlight, this white dash is the existing service area of the Belmont Ridge pump station. The green area is what the original Russell Branch sewer shed was going to serve, which is about 1 million gallons a day. And then the blue is the JLMA East area, which will also flow to Russell Branch depending on what builds out. So our phased approach, phase 1 is going to be close to what the original design was, about 1 MGD, which will serve that green area on the last slide. Phase 2 will serve the green area plus some of the blue. And then the phase 3, the final build out, would be if everything redeveloped and all vacant properties developed and came to Loudon Water, which may or may not happen, but we want to have the ability to serve if it does. So our phased approach will provide the most efficient, cost-effective way to give us the most flexibility. So we tried to keep, this is the original design, we tried to keep as much of the original design as we could, but unfortunately going upsizing 5 times, it wasn't a whole lot possible. So we're keeping the substructure, basically everything below ground will stay the same size, which is good, but the control building above will definitely have to change. So the scope of work includes enlarging the control building to accommodate additional panels for an additional pump in phase 2. And the panels, of course, are bigger because the pumps are bigger. And then we need a larger generator because we're going to have additional electrical load. So the generator room needs to get larger. We're still undecided on how big we're going to build the emergency storage tank. What's shown here is 2 hours of peak flow at the ultimate build out. So it's quite a big tank, but it does fit on the site. So we're going to see if we can grade it and still not impact the floodplain. Schedule, the design task order is going to take about a year. So I'm hoping to be back to talk to you guys next summer about awarding a construction contract. And then construction is going to take a little over 2 years before we can decommission the Belmont Ridge station. It's in the CIP. We've got about $11 million for the next 10 years. That's all I really wanted to say on that slide. And then the fee. So as you can see, the majority of the fee is in design. About 2/3 of our plans need revision, a quarter of the specs. All disciplines need to be involved. Like I said, once you change the layout of the pumps, then you're changing your HVAC, your electrical, your I&C, basically everything. So, and
Kathleen?
then, yes.
Sorry, Mr. Kobus has a question, please.
Sure. You're on mute.
Sir, you're muted.
What a rookie. Golly, you'd think I'd know this by now. So you got this 2.8%. What is that 2.8% up? 8 million?
Yeah. So if that was the most, conservative, if the construction of the pump station comes in at 8 million, this would be 2.8% of that.
Okay, and then the whole thing is like 4.6%.
Yes.
Approximately. I can't remember what I put down. Anyway, my question is, how much did we already spend on design?
So previously you have approved altogether in the original design and the amendment 479,000-ish. So we're adding, that'll be a total of 865,000 if you add what was previously approved and this new task order.
And we're not, oh, you said we're using some of the old design?
We tried to as much as we could, but we're upsizing pretty much everything. The thing that isn't changing is the below grade design. That structure will stay the same. The stairwell will stay the same, but everything upstairs is probably going to have to be changed in order to fit all the panels and stuff that we need.
Okay, that's all I have. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. This is Angeline.
Hey,
Hi.
Angeline.
Hi.
Good morning.
I'm sorry. I'm having significant trouble joining in, so I'm joining as a guest. So it's been an issue, but I've been following your presentation. It's great.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Angeline, I'll mark you as present. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
So I think the only other thing I wanted to say on this slide is the PM time is about 3 hours a week. We do have to go back and get a new building permit, a new certificate to construct from DEQ, and go back to DVP for a larger electrical load. And that is pretty much it, unless somebody has any other questions. Got my recommended motion.
What is below grade that doesn't have to be changed?
Mainly just the actual concrete structure. The size of the wet well doesn't, we had a grinder chamber and wet well kind of attached below grade in the pump station building itself. And so we're going to move that grinder chamber outside of the pump station so that the wet well can be basically double the size in order to accommodate the future flows.
Okay, that's all I asked.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the recommended motion?
So moved, Jim Bonfils.
Seconded by me.
Is that for consent, Marty?
Excuse me, yes, for consent. My motion is for consent. I apologize.
Yeah, that would be for consent. That's correct.
Thank you. Roll call vote, Mr. Bonfils,
Yes.
Mr. Moody, Ms. Sursakar,
Yes.
and Mr. Sultan.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
The next item is a report on the Milestone Reservoir, an update.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Savita Schlesinger, and I'm going to give you an update on the Quarry A project. It's been a while since we've had a touch point for this project, but we've been doing quite a bit in the last few months. So we wanted to let you know about that. Yes.
Sorry, we have a question for Mr. Koblis.
Sure.
Thank you.
Savita, sorry to interrupt your start, but
Yeah.
if you could just tell me, because I've been on this project for 12 years, how we came up with the final, why we decided to put the pump station on the far side of the quarry, because there was a lot of question about where we were going to put it. I know we originally were going to put it there, but then they were talking about moving it again. So I'm just curious why did you finally end up with it there? I know if it's part of your presentation, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure you brought it up.
Sure, I will, and I can answer your question now. That right now, that is our conceptual location. When we bring the CMAR on board, it is possible that that location may change. It's something that we're going to evaluate once they get on board. So, okay, so I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about what we've been doing and where we are. I'm going to go over the project background so we can talk a little bit more, Mr. Koblis, if you have some more questions, and then what the next steps are for our process.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about what the CMAR process is. We all have seen it now like 3 or 4 times, so we understand what it is.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so just a reminder for those of you that might not be familiar with our system, this is a figure showing the water supply system, and we have our intake, raw water intake pump station up here on the Potomac, and we have the trap rock down here about 5 miles away. Beaver Dam Reservoir and Goose Creek Reservoir are upstream of trap, and Quarry A, which will become Milestone Reservoir, is located about 2.5 miles from trap and about 2.5 miles from the raw water pump station. So this is the conceptual design, Mr. Koblis, that I think you were looking at. This is something that we will be revisiting with the CMAR once they're on board. The major components of the project will remain the same though, so we will need to add a fill line, which essentially will connect the raw water transmission main into the quarry. That will allow us to fill the quarry with the raw water pump station. Then we'll have a deep shaft pump station that will withdraw water from the quarry and pump it back over to the raw water transmission main, and that will allow us to pull water from the quarry and it to be used at Trap Rock. And then there's some intake tunnels. Those are located at varying depths throughout the vertical portion of the quarry to be able to allow us to pull water from different elevations. So, Mr. Koblis, we will revisit this location. It's possible that the pump station may end up at a different location within our easement. Do you have any other questions related to that? Okay. So I won't spend too much time on this. We did have to, per our policy, we did have to bring a professional advisor on board to help us with this process. And now we are actually in the middle of our 2-step procurement process. The first step, which was an RFQ to determine a short list of contractors, and the second it was an RFP to make a final selection of the contractors. And then we'll enter into negotiations with 2 or more of these firms. So when we're all said and done, once the CMAR is on board, this is sort of this is what the org chart will look like. So we have our designer, Arcadis and Schnabel, our professional advisor, Black and Beach, and then the CMAR will also be a part of our team with any subcontractors they may bring on board. And together we'll work to find the most optimal design for our needs. So from a timing perspective, we started this process back in March of 2020. We brought Black and Beach on board, and then in excuse me, and then in June, the board approved the resolution to allow us to do CMAR. In December, the solicitation was formally opened up to the contracting community, and in March, the evaluation team developed the short list, and we are now in the process of evaluating proposals that have been submitted in response to our RFP. We'll hope to make a decision or a selection by the end of Q2 of this year, and then bring a contract for approval and award to the board in Q3 of this year. So I know you guys have seen this slide a number of times, so I'm just going to walk through a few of the things that we've been working on, mostly in this red box. So as you guys know, we've completed the qualification phase of the project. So we had some pre-submission meetings, we had some site visits with interested parties, and then the evaluation team received 5 statement of qualifications from Archer, Western, Clark, MWH, TC Flatiron, which was a joint venture, and Ullman Schutte. We reviewed all of those statement of qualifications, and we came up with a short list. That short list was 3 contractors, Archer, Western, Clark, and MWH. and those shortlisted contractors were invited to propose on our RFP. So we are now in this process. We have, as part of the RFP process, we had a pre-submission meeting, and we also had pre-proposal meetings. This allowed each offer to ask us questions, to run some ideas by us as they prepared their proposals. And then we also had one final set of site visits for the individuals to be able to see the site. We received proposals on May 4th, and those are currently under review. And then in June, we will begin our interview process. It'll be a 3-hour interview with each of the offers. And after that, we will take the performance of the interview, we will take the scoring on the RFP, and we will determine, we will rank the offers. Once we've established the ranking, we'll then enter into negotiations with our selected CMAR. Are there any questions on this? Okay. So once we've made our contractor selection, we'll proceed with negotiations. The negotiations will be to finalize the design scope and fee for the CMAR, and then we will bring that contract to the board in Q2 of 2021. Once that contract has been approved, we will move into our, we'll resume the design process, and we'll resume design and transition into construction with anticipating construction to be complete in 2025. Any questions? Great. Thank you.
Well, let's proceed to the next item, which is the Capital Construction Quarterly Report by Brian Stone.
Good morning, Chairman, the committee members. I'm here to present the first quarter report for 2021. It's a capital construction report. I'm going to be speaking about 5 separate projects today. I've got some photographs for some of these, and just for others, I just have general information. And then I'll close the report with quarterly numbers for those projects that are still in construction, and for also some projects that were completed during the first quarter. The Brambleton Pump Station, which the sewer shed for Brambleton is shown in green. It's in the very center of our central sewer system. Our contractor there is Archer Western. That's a $5.7 million construction project. This is a new pump station that replaces the temporary pump station that had been in place for several years. I'm pleased to report that that pump station was declared substantially complete at the end of February. And at that time, our operations and maintenance staff began operating this pump station, so it is in use now. The Cedar Crest upgrades at Cedar Crest Pump Station 1 and Pump Station 2, both of those pump stations are being upgraded. Those pump stations are in the very southern end of our central sewer system, as shown in the red and the blue at the bottom. Again, Archer Western's our contractor here as well. This is a much smaller contract at $1.6 million. For this project, we're replacing some equipment and making general upgrades. Cedar Crest 1 was declared substantially complete at the end of March, and Cedar Crest 2 in early April. And both of those pump stations being substantially complete now are under our operation and control. Have any questions about our pump station upgrades? Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. The Horsepen Run BRIPPI 5 sewer project. Our contractor is Oscar Renda. They're out of Roanoke, Texas. That's a $29 million construction project. That's the largest non-plant project Loudoun Water has ever undertaken. This gravity sewer parallels the Greenway from Loudoun County Parkway all the way to Route 28. In fact, there's a tunnel under 28 where it ties in to the sewer there. This is almost 4 miles in length, and of that 4 miles, approximately 4,400 feet of the project was put in through a tunnel boring method, not an open excavation, but actually tunneled in. At the low end, there is some 18-inch gravity sewer on this project, just a little bit, but at the downstream end, the sewer is 72 inches in diameter, so to where it ties in. This entire project has been declared substantially complete. You may recall that last summer, a portion of the work was declared substantially complete and was under our operation and control at that time. The entire project is now substantially complete, and we hope to close it out here by the end of the second quarter.
Congratulations, Brian.
Thank you. The
I
contractor's
know that's
working
a
on
big
punch
project.
list. It's huge. It's huge. And a lot of coordination with the airport, MY, and then the Trip 2, and then the Greenway, not the Greenway, but the Metro Rail. So this is a really big milestone for us. Any questions? This is just showing the alignment of the Horsepen Run Sewer project from Loudoun County Parkway all the way to Route 28. Again, 10 tunnels on the project. We had 4 crossings of the Metro, so we were able to get this project in before a lot of the Metro was in place, and so we were able to coordinate with them very well. So it's been overall a little bit late, but a very successful project otherwise. The Goose Creek Crossing, Garney is our contractor for this project. It's roughly $4.3 million. This is marine construction, which is the first time we've done that. The project is constructed with a barge, and we even have scuba divers working on this project. To put the pipe across the Goose Creek, we had to dredge. The contract had to dredge first, place ballast blocks into place, pull the pipe into place, and then attach the pipe to the ballast blocks with straps, and that's the part of the work that's done with scuba divers. And I'll show you what those ballast blocks and straps look like in the photo on the left. You can see the ballast blocks in the foreground. Those are precast concrete blocks that were delivered to the site. And then in the background, around the workers, you can see the stainless steel straps that will hold the pipe into place. The photograph on the right is the construction from the barge, contractors lowering the ballast box into the reservoir. I've got a couple photographs here of the contractor pulling the pipe across the reservoir. We're using a high-density polyethylene pipe for this application. And you can see the barge in both photographs, and there's also some work being performed from a boat. The photograph on the left is, again, the pipe being pulled into place. And in the photograph on the right, the pipe, the high-density polyethylene pipe, is fully into place now. And the thing that is out of view are the divers who are installing the straps on the pipe to hold it onto the ballast blocks and to secure it into place. Any questions? Go ahead, Mr. Koblis. You're on mute.
Oh, I can't believe it. What are those straps made out of? Are they stainless steel, or what are they made of?
Stainless steel.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Broad Run expansion. There's some key information here. Our contractor is Corman Kokosing out of Columbus, Ohio. This is a $76 million project. To date, through the first quarter, we'd had $37,000 in change orders. The value completed is at 10%, and the time elapsed is 16%. Presently, the contractor's schedule is still showing timely contract completion. And in future reports, I'll include a schedule performance index, which will be the earned value divided by the planned value of that work. Any questions before I move into the photographs? Okay, before we get to the photographs, I do want to present the risk register from our June CIP meeting. I wanted to just tie this risk register back to how things are now, the status now compared to the risk that we had identified at that time. We had a risk of delay claims, compensation claims, continuous operation at Broad Run, failure to comply with contract requirements, and those status, everything's going really well so far. We had very few time claims. We did extend some time for one of the milestones but it was not, it did not result in an overall contract time extension. Compensation claims, as I told you, we're at $37,000 in change orders. We're able to resolve those issues quickly and proactively. We're maintaining continuous operations at Broad Run, which is especially important for us. We're continuing to meet our permit. And I'll show you in the next slide of where the contractor's working across the site. Any questions? The contractor's working at 7 separate areas at the site, including right within the heart of the plant itself, at the primary clarifiers and in the blower room and the biological reactor basins. And so far, things are going really well in that coordination effort. I want to present a couple of before and after photos. This is the photo of the baffle wall construction at the biological reactor basin number 2. The photograph on the left is sort of a before photo, not completely before because the contractor has installed some dowel rods for the wall construction, and those are drilled into place. And then the photograph on the right is the finished wall. The first photograph's from March, second is from April. And this is a process improvement for us. This is a view from Loudoun County Parkway at our primary clarifier process. Photograph on the left is from February before they began work, and photograph on the right is from March after work had commenced. You can see the contractor at that point had removed the brick fascia from the wall, and they're drilling in piers and performing the excavation there at present. And I've got 2 photographs here from our equalization tank construction. This is 240 feet in diameter concrete construction. This is a 10 million gallon storage tank. And these photographs were taken in mid-April. And I've got some details about that particular concrete placement in the next slide. So this entire slab, all of the concrete for this slab was placed on April the 17th. That was roughly 150 concrete trucks going in and out of the site from 2 separate plants that Titan Concrete operates, the one in Leesburg and the one in Sterling. The slab is from 3.5 to 30 inches thick. So the contractor began this work on Saturday morning at roughly 4 or 4:30 with some setup, and finished a little before 6 in the evening. And the value of that work performed on that Saturday was roughly $500,000. So that was a very productive day. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to close with some.
A tour.
I'm sorry, what's that
This is
again?
Jim, I'm looking forward to a tour.
Yeah, okay, we can arrange that. I'm going to close with just some tabular information about the projects and the change to the contract price and percent spent. Of the projects that are listed, those that with the little red star next to them are either substantially complete in their entirety or at least in part, and we're able to use at least a portion of that work is under our operation and control as of the end of the first quarter. $124 million in construction, and 5 of the projects are very close to completion. Any questions? Okay, in the first quarter, we achieved final completion on 3 of the projects. And those projects are listed here. Our HVAC control project, Sugar Run Phase 2 valve replacement, and then the Building 70 roofing project. Any questions about these projects? Or about the report? That's all I have for you.
I have a comment. As usual, it's a very impressive report. You guys do a damn good job.
Thank you.
Great job, Brian. And
Thank you.
congratulations on the Oscar render project that you had with the Dulles Dulles Town Center.
Sure.
Parkway. It was a very great presentation. I don't have any
Thank-
questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are no questions, let's go on to the capital spending monthly report by Tom Lipinski.
So the report is there. If there's any questions, be happy to try to answer them. Thanks to Brian and his construction projects moving along, we're spending pretty close to where we projected. So
You're gonna end
Phil's
up
has a
you're gonna
question.
end up spoiling us with a good follow-up on construction costs.
Mr. Bonfield has a question.
Yeah, when I reviewed this, it looks like we're tracking, right on line with ERCs and everything. Do you believe that will continue for the rest of the balance of this year?
this is actually showing more of, of course, our expenditures going out the door. So what you're asking about is the money coming into the door, and I would say I'm remiss at saying I'm not exactly sure. I haven't paid attention to what the status exactly is of the ERCs. I'm not sure if Brian Carnes is in the meeting and might be able to give a quick update on that. My recollection, though, is that we were tracking close to our projection, but I haven't looked at them probably in the last month myself.
Hey, Tom, I'm here. Good morning, Mr. Bonfils. Yes, we were tracking pretty well close to our projection. We're actually a little above it through the end of, or as of today, almost the end of May. However, I will say most of that is due to some data centers that we got. May has been not great for ERC connections. I believe we're somewhere around 87 for the month so far. And so I think it really probably depends if we get the data center connections this year that we were thinking or not.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm sure you're going to keep an eye on it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Brian.
Are there any other questions?
Well, thank you.
Mr. Koblis has a question.
Yes, just a comment. I know these people are on the line because I can see their names up here, but first of all, I just want to say how great it's been working with Roddy Moe. It's been, of course, I've been with him for 12 years now, and I've never been able to shake him up in a meeting, so that goes to say what kind of person he really is. He's always, had my back, always explains things. You probably don't know how much that he and I text or talk outside of all of our meetings just to get clarification, so I don't have to bring it up into the meetings. But it's going to be a sad loss for me for sure. But I know actually talked to him yesterday, and I know he's got some great plans for his future, and I'm sure we'll see each other down the road. Also, congratulations to Alton Eccles for being the new DGM. That's a great place for him to be. I fully support it. Alton's very good at keeping an even keel in all these meetings and very, very knowledgeable. And also congratulations to Pan Kennel for her promotion too. So I just wanted to bring that up too, because all these three people are, very important to this committee meeting. And, after chairing this committee for, I don't know, 8 or 9 years, they all helped me a lot, and I really appreciate it. And I thank you all.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks for mentioning that, Mark. We really
Thanks,
appreciate Roddy's contribution.
I'd like to
Roddy, I
I'd
also
like to
wanted
second those
to.
comments.
This is Angeline. Roddy, I also wanted to take a moment to thank you. I haven't worked with you for 12 years. I worked with you for an year, but enough to let you know that I'm really grateful for all your guidance and support each time that I needed something. Carla was able to direct me to you, and you were always there and always guiding me in the right direction. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank you. And I do hope that you have a beautiful, smooth retirement, which I know you will, and enjoy your time. And we've been really, really grateful to have you with us for as long as we have. So thank you.
Thank you very much, and I have to thank you all as well. You know, it has been great to be part of such an amazing organization. And one thing I can say is that I know I'm leaving it in good hands with the leadership of Carla and now with Alton and others. So very much appreciate your kind words, and thank you for the opportunity to work.
Pam Kennel has a comment.
Good morning. I just wanted to assure the board that we are not going to let Roddy Mo escape without extracting every bit of good stuff that's in his brain. We are going to work him to that last day that he is at Loudonwater. So I just wanted you to be assured that staff's going to take care of that for you.
I only live about a quarter mile from his house, so I know where he lives.
Just blow the horn as you drive by. That's fine.
Okay, the next item is the next committee meeting. CIP committee is June 23rd. And if there's nothing else on the agenda, do I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second by Marty.
All right, and Mr. Bonfils,
Yes.
Mr. Moody, Ms. Sursikar,
Yes.
and Mr. Sultan.
Yes.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned at 8:43.